This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
Yoga!
Welcome to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio.
Well, there you have it.
There we go.
That saved us from saying it.
I know.
This is a very special episode of Funniest Thing.
It is. It's a direct response to a fan who tweeted us an awesome message.
Today.
Yes, this very day. And today's show is called Grace.
Is our ace in the hole.
Or Grace.
Is our ace in the hole.
And the letter came from our friend
Blind Bobby Biggs.
Yep, at CWG Freedom on Twitter.
That's right.
And he said...
From Florida.
From Florida, Tampa, I believe.
Yes.
Tampa. And he said, dude, and we can all relate to this. He said, I feel like I have backslidden in my relationship with God. Need to restart or want to start again. Is starting over with God as easy as telling him I want to restart with him? In my own words, like I'm telling you? Thanks.
Yes.
Bobby Biggs.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic question, and we can all relate to it.
Yeah, and the good news is yes.
Yes. A resounding yes.
Yeah, that it's that easy. And the other good news is that these negative thoughts of thinking I'm backsliding.
Yes.
I have to remind myself, wait a minute, this is a good sign.
Exactly. There's a great Emmett Fox called Devil's Last Ditch, or where he refers to it as the Devil's Last Ditch, where all of that pus is coming out, and we have a great Florence Scovel Shin reading from Game of Life. All of our readings on this show, it can be found at goodreads.com, www.goodreads.com/Darrell and Ed. You can go there. Click on a link and purchase the book if you please and have it for your own inspired reading collection.
Yeah, we actually read these books regularly.
Yes, we do. And we recommend anyone who really wants to get their, like, the fullness of these, like, the benefit of these principles to do a morning routine. It only takes like 7 minutes. We have other shows that talk directly about that, but it's as simple as sitting for 7 minutes in the morning, reading a couple pages out of the books that, like the ones we recommend, or something that inspires you, and then just sitting silently for a few minutes and just listening and just letting your mind quiet down and getting back on track with God, with love, with all the things that we talk about on this show.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the Devil's Last Ditch that you mentioned earlier is really a good sign because it means we're actually growing spiritually.
That's right.
And these are the last little remnants of negative thoughts coming up like pus, like subconscious pus just coming out. So bless it and let it go.
Yeah, because our subconscious mind is like a core. It can be a chorus of like, it's like an alarm going off. Wait. And it starts telling us all this scary stuff because we're going bigger than whatever, for some reason, it feels unsafe or whatever to those old parts of our mind that we're maybe conditioned to be afraid.
Yeah, because we're moving
We're moving on up.
out of the comfort zone.
Out of the comfort zone. Just like Darrell and Ed when we break into middle school studios when Jeff Comfort's not here.
That's true.
Thank God for Mr. French.
So this is on page 18, and this pretty much should give a lot of reassurance to Blind Bobby Biggs because it gives me a lot.
Yes.
And it says, getting into the spiritual swing of things is no easy matter for the average person.
Yes.
The adverse thoughts of doubt and fear surge from the subconscious. They are the army of aliens which must be put to flight. This explains why it is so often darkest before the dawn. A big demonstration is usually preceded by tormenting thoughts. So this is a good news, Bobby.
Yes, great news, Bobby.
Yeah. Having made a statement of high spiritual truth, one challenges the old beliefs in the subconscious and error is exposed to be put out. That means when these doubts come up, don't go with the doubt.
Right.
And start believing the doubt.
Well, read that next sentence if you don't mind, because it's another really good one.
Oh, here it is.
Yes.
This is perfect. So I'm going to read this back up a second. Having made a statement of high spiritual truth, one challenges the old beliefs in the subconscious and error is exposed to be put out.
Right.
This is the time when one must make his affirmations of truth repeatedly and rejoice and give thanks that he has already been received. And just remind yourself, before you call, I shall answer. This means that every good and perfect gift is already man's awaiting his recognition.
Yes.
And that's why grace is our ace in the hole. Because grace, to me, I like to quickly turn it into, we always receive more than we sow.
That's right.
More good than we sow. We always receive more good than we sow.
That's right, because we don't have to do anything or earn God's love or earn love in any way. Darrell and I were just talking about this. In fact, we can't, because it's already ours. It's always coming to us. We just have to do our little tricks of our mind, if you will, when our mind starts acting up, to let it in. Emmett Fox talks about how all we really have to do is open up the blinds and let the light come into the dark room. And it's very tempting in those moments where our mind is afraid or we think we're separate from God to want to hide even more in the dark room and shut all the windows. But we're encouraging you almost to go against, what do you call it, contrary action.
Yeah.
Instead, let the light in. Read something inspired. Turn on an episode of Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Call an inspired friend like Darrell.
I got excited.
Yes. Good,
because this morning I was thinking, I heard this quote there's another show in the archives on Unity FM called Discovering Eric Butterworth.
Oh, fantastic.
And in there he said that Eric Butterworth came across a quote saw Robert Frost being interviewed on a show.
Okay.
And Robert Frost was a very positive and always happy poet. So the interviewer asked him, how could you be so happy all the time? And he goes, every morning I make up my bed and I make up my mind. And I'm the regular bed maker at our house. Yeah. So instead of grumbling that I always have to make a bed, now I hear genius. That in my thought, and I go, I'm making up my mind, which is part of the morning routine.
Fantastic.
And one other thing, proof that we don't have to earn God's grace or that we always reap more good than we sow. It's even evident in our health. Because think how many Doritos and puffy Cheetos I've eaten in my lifetime, and sodas, and who knows what else. And I was smoking for a long period, and my body still errs on the side of health and vitality.
Yes, I know. With all the scary stuff you can listen to in the news, and not even just in the news, the people who don't even watch the news but put out books about more things to be scared about with health and whatever else it is. We're still here. We still wake up, and believe me, it has nothing to do with me that I would keep waking up in the morning or that I'm here even in the first place, except that I do my best to keep, like you said, making my bed and making up my mind to enjoy the experience as much as possible.
Right, just cooperating with, like you said earlier, just recognizing or just cooperate with the truth that life flows in a positive direction. Just keep reassuring myself of that.
That's this title that Darrell came up with earlier just hits me. Grace is our ace in the hole. Or I can remind myself, grace is my ace in the hole. It's not my ability to figure things out, to work harder, to network, to whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's grace that is my ace in the hole. And a lot of times when I just relax into grace, that's when all the funniest things start to happen.
Coincidences, phone calls, people turn up in our life.
So we came up with a breath for you, Bobby.
That's right.
So let's do that together. And I called in the angelic choir to back us up here. So I'm going to get ready for that. And it is very simple. Let's take one breath to clear our mind. And it goes like this. I am in the right place to receive God's grace.
I am in the right place to receive God's grace.
I am in the right place to receive God's grace. Yes. So along these lines, we have a couple readings.
Quick little affirmations. When we were talking about this show,
you want to do the affirmations or the readings?
These two quick affirmations, then that definition, the ponder and my quick one I do in my head because they're so short.
Oh yeah.
That go along with this 3 breaths.
You're going way off the outline. We have tape right over here.
I know, but I always I don't have my glasses on. So anyway, these are quick. When Ed was talking about the show, I was like, oh my God, this is similar to an affirmation that I regularly do in times like this.
Oh yes.
I just go, now I stand on holy ground and great things happen all around.
Say that one more time slower.
Okay, because I get too happy when I say
it. Yeah, I love it. Plus I'm going to write it on the screen down here so people can really get it.
Yeah. Now I stand on holy ground and great things happen all around. And because it's so childlike, it immediately cuts off that adult that's got to get things to work out. And what are we going to do in this situation to leave?
Love it. And the next one comes, we get this new monthly newsletter from Catherine Ponder at Unity of the Desert, I think it's called.
Or Unity Worldwide.
Unity Worldwide. And she has given us some great affirmations, and she continues to. So.
And this one's a great one. If you feel you're in a jam, if you got into a little fender bender, or any seemingly negative situation, this is a great one that I use and have been using. There is good in this experience, and that good is revealed to me now. In fact, I can hardly wait to see what good is coming from this.
Yes.
And you could cut it short and just say, I can hardly wait to see what good is coming from this.
Yes.
Because grace is our ace in the hole.
Yes.
Even the most seemingly negative situations.
Yes.
There's usually, with a little bit of time, we find out, oh my God, now I know why that happened.
Yes. No kidding. And so oftentimes when we're doing a show, we go to the glossary of the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. He didn't actually write this as this giant tome, but it was put together from his other books.
From his little books.
Books.
That are all about this size.
Right. But this book, which was given to me by Dr. Elizabeth Marshall over at the Center for Spiritual Living in Inglewood, who is amazing. We go to that metaphysical Bible study we talk about every week.
Yep.
So I love this book even more, even though the cover's ripped off, because Dr. Elizabeth gave it to me. And the definition of grace, again, go to goodreads.com/Darrell and Ed. You can find this book there as well. So grace is the givingness of spirit to its creation and is not a special law, but a specialized one. In other words, grace is, but we need to recognize it. It is not something God imposed upon us, but is the logical result of the correct acceptance of life and of a correct relationship to the Spirit. We are saved by grace to the extent that we believe in, accept, and seek to embody the law of good. For the law of good is ever a law of liberty and never one of limitation. Limitation is not a thing, not an entity, but a belief. Freedom is a divine reality.
Oh my God. Hang on, I got to get something.
Freedom is a divine reality. And I think when they talk about just accepting the correct acceptance of the law, all it means is just buying into or convincing myself to buy into the truth that life is good. That life is good no matter what my mind might be telling me, and that I am worthy of the love that is already coming to me.
And another suggestion I'd like to make that Ed and I do, get yourself a little notebook so when you have inspired ideas, you jot them down or give yourself a mini little report card like Ed does.
Yes.
I gave myself a report card the other day and I got an A+, where you just go over the things that happened during that day. And just this morning, I wrote this about, which I didn't even know we were going to be talking about. This was hours before the show. And I put, I'm on board for a total regeneration. And as much as I believe God is doing the work, I change for the better. Thank God it's not willpower.
Yes.
I can decide to be on board for a total regeneration of my soul. By being on board with this belief, I change for the better. Inside, and as the inside changes for the better, my conditions change for the better too. And what I was reassuring myself is that I don't have to make, all I got to do is believe that God is changing me for the better, and that's enough.
Yes, and that's why you just mentioned also the whole idea of giving yourself a report card, of giving myself, because God is always giving you the best possible report card ever. God, there's no... You came into this world perfect. You're always perfect. The more I accept that I am, the more I act like it. It's a reverse of what a lot of times I think is the case. It's actually the sooner I accept that I am good, that I'm worthy of love, the sooner I actually start acting like it.
And I have to have friends to remind me of that I get a good report.
Oh my God, yes, that's very helpful.
I did a cartoon this morning that at first I loved, and then later on I kept asking God, I don't know. It's not quite perfect. I think the guys aren't really expressing. It's angels. I think they're not really expressing.
Oh, yes.
Finally, he told me his son, Elliot, who's just 12 years old, enjoyed it. So you know what? I decided to believe Elliot.
Yes.
So I'm just going to choose to believe that.
Yes.
And you know what? A day from now, an hour from now, I'm going to look at that cartoon and go, this cartoon is
You
fantastic.
are not kidding, because it is. You can find it on
Devil's
our
Last
Funniest
Ditch.
Thing fan page.
Yes.
You'll see that cartoon that he was talking about. And I was going to say another great tool is to call the prayer line, because you can reach out. You're guaranteed to get someone who will reinforce that you are loved and that all is well. And that's 1-800-NOW-PRAY or 1-800-669-7729.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
7729.
I had to use the phone to figure out what the letters were. And it is a great tool, because reaching out, it's because sometimes my own mind is so willful in that moment and so already engaged in so much negativity that it's like almost of no use to me. I have to reach outside myself.
And you once remarked about calling the prayer line, it's like getting my team on it.
Yes.
You could put that in your head. It actually feels really good.
Yeah, it really
I just
does.
go up, my team's on it.
Right.
You know, I handed it over to them and my team is on it.
Yeah, so we wanted to read the Daily Word for today because it was also perfect. The Daily Word, if you want to receive the Daily Word, which is a daily inspirational reading that's been around since, I think, 1924.
It is actually, I think it's 100 years old. So, oh no, it is 1924.
Yeah, because it was 90 years.
I'm thinking of the prayer line is
Yes.
over 100 years old.
And you go to www.dailyword.com and you can order the paper or the digital or all of the above. And
very cheap.
And even if you don't want to subscribe, you can go to dailyword.com and each day the word is
That's right.
there.
No obligation.
Yeah. So that's a good way to get started. Today's word is comfort. And every week we read this, the Daily Word for that day on our radio show.
Just happens to be our favorite person's last name.
I know, Jeff Comfort, who's the engineer for our radio show. And I was going to say, we love to have listeners come on our show and read the Daily Word and share their experiences. So if you're interested in doing that, interested in joining us on the radio show,
live on the air.
Yeah, you can go to our Funniest Thing fan page and message us of Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, or you can just email us at funniestthingunityoonlineradio.org.
That's right.
And so this today is called Comfort, and it says, I find God in me and I am comforted. If I ever feel alone without help or support, I remind myself that in truth I cannot be alone. God is within and around me at all times. Beyond the material world, the presence of Spirit is alive in me. I turn from any sense of loneliness and lean on this comforting truth. I am one with Christ. Within me is all power, all love, and all joy. No outer trouble has the power to remove God from me, even when it feels overwhelming. I pray to see challenging conditions in a new light. I become willing to look for God in the person or situation that seems to cause me distress. I ask to discover how everything is working for my highest good. I receive all I pray for at the right and perfect time. God is in me and I am comforted. And the Bible verse from Luke 15:31 says, Then the Father said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours.
From Luke.
From Luke 15:31, yes.
We don't have to earn God's favor. Grace is our ace in the hole.
Grace is our ace in the hole.
Because that son got resentful because he thought he had to earn it.
This is the prodigal son he was referring to.
And this is the son that stayed home and said, why is he getting a party? I stayed here and worked hard for this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the father said, Bozo, you already had everything.
Yeah.
Why were you even thinking that way?
The son thought he was working to earn it.
Right.
But the father never thought that way. The father said, oh, he's happy. He lives here. Everything's his.
If he wants to help, I'll let him help.
Yeah, if he wants to go join his brother partying in that far city, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll welcome him back too. So what do you say, man? Anything else we want to let the people know about?
I think this is the perfect time for our closing.
Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook.
That's right.
Share your questions and funniest things there, and email us any kind of questions or funniest things at funniestthing@unityonlineradio.org.
That's down here somewhere.
Yeah, that'll be down there somewhere.
There it is.
Remember, grace is our ace in the hole, right?
Yep. And with that,
we will say farewell until we meet again.
thank you for joining us on Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed on YouTube.
Thank you for listening to The Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Listen in every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central as these unlikely saints share more real-life stories of how surrendering to divine order always leads to better-than-expected outcomes. This program has been made possible by God through automated monthly transfers from Darrell and Ed's credit cards.